Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. As always, Tate Mathews here with me. Tate, it's quarterfinals week. Does it get much more exciting than this?
No, it does not. Well, yes, it does.
Semifinals week.
Semifinal week.
And championship week. Okay. Maybe I should have said up until this point.
It doesn't get any more exciting than this
exciting?
up until this point.
Sorry, I kicked my water over.
Struggling.
Do we need to stop, Mr. Producer? Okay, Tate, now, we don't have a lot of other sports to talk about, so it's going to be pretty much all football this week. We did have, I don't think I mentioned this to you last week, our first ever media day for wrestling.
How'd it go?
It was a great turnout. Obviously, you know, Big Mo was there. Mo Patton, he loves wrestling.
Yes, he does.
He was there supporting the cause. Obviously, Charles Pulliam was there supporting the cause. Corey Woodruff supporting the cause. So it was great. Coach Pelkey out of Centennial helped me organize that. It really turned out great.
I bet it was. And those guys work hard, take a lot of pride in their programs. And the thing that's been fun, like with the minor sports that we've seen, for years it was a Brentwood, Franklin kind of dominated thing. Well, Summit, they've got one of the top programs in the state. Independence Coach Grindstaff, I know he's been to the state duels at least 4 times. Centennial's been there. And what Coach Derrick's done at Fairview, they've really upped that program, and they went to the state tournament.
And that may be the most impressive of all, actually.
Without a doubt. And then Coach Peck and Nolensville, what were they, runner-ups last year? So, big deal, man.
No, it was great.
It'd have been awesome if maybe y'all had to put a ring in there and like you and Qualls had an exhibition match or something.
It'd have been wrestling, though. I'd have hit him with a chair.
Yeah, well, that's
a little different.
We're in the South.
Those
man.
guys probably don't like it when you act like that's what they do, right?
Well, no, I think the ones that get it do. I mean, let's have some fun with it, right? Now, the ones that take themselves too seriously, no. But, I bet Damon Smith would do it. He knows he can appreciate a good wrestling match and a good wrestling
Yes,
match.
and I know you can too.
Without a doubt.
Which we could have a show about, by the way.
For sure. I'd come out in my dusty roads attire, a Malkin dream.
Also, basketball getting cranked up this week. Still not time for our preview show because we're going to spend a little bit of time on that. I'm obviously very excited about that. Looking forward to seeing what our teams can do this year.
Without a doubt, I got to spend some time with Coach Tigert over the weekend, and he was super excited.
It was an upgrade, wasn't it?
You
can say it. You can say it to the public. It's an upgrade.
No, he was super excited about the opening round game that the guy who made the schedule got for him, East Nashville. He was telling me about how loaded they were, and he just got his football guys.
Coach Tigert, if you're watching, step up, man. Come on, you can handle it.
He's like, what kind of a guy makes a schedule like that and then leaves? He didn't say that. But.
Hey, listen.
East Nashville, apparently they're really good again. But Coach Fay's now in Southern Williamson County, so
that's right.
Basketball's going to be fun.
This will be the 3rd straight year the Rebels have started the season playing East Nashville.
And I think kind of like some of the teams we're going to talk about today, I think that scheduling paid off for the Rebels, did it not?
No doubt about it. No doubt. And we had Glover.
Yes, and Hainsworth.
And
my man
Thurman,
Jordan Bruce.
And Kemp, and the whole lot
Boy,
of
Thurman, have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he's big.
He's getting bigger.
He is. Looking for a great year for him.
Yeah.
Second,
that's another show.
That's another show. Second round of the playoffs. Let's start off, and these are great games. Brentwood 20, Independence 13. Bruins come out hot, up 17-0 at the half, but then Independence rallies. Now, and again, I know I keep getting hammered for this from some people, but Independence, the defense, 202 yards is all they gave up to Brentwood. Not that Brentwood's a big, high-powered 500-yard-a-game offense, but they usually do a little more than 202.
They've got 10 wins in 6A football.
Give Independence credit. Part of that rally is based on how that defense played.
I think for sure, and you said it last week, that this game was going to be closer than most people thought. And I saw Coach Crawford's quotes, and he talked about how much more physical they were this year. And at a lot of points in the game, he thought Independence was more physical than Brentwood, which I think that's a big statement. So 202 total yards. I know you read the same stat I did. Cade Granzow accounted for 181 of those. So kind of goes to what we're saying. I mean, he's just so hard to stop. They obviously had a great game plan and played as probably well as they played all year on defense, but still not enough to hold him down. He's just a heck of a player. But I was really happy for Independence. You knew probably they were a pretty big underdog in this game, and they gave them everything they wanted, had a chance to move on, so no surprise. And Ethan Cash, 24 for 47, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 12 rushes, 43 yards, and 1 touchdown. Did a little research. Shout out to my man, Coach Chad Gates. Season stats. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I thought we'd be remiss if we didn't mention
No,
this.
absolutely. Go ahead.
Cash, 2,527 yards passing, 20 touchdowns. 386 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. 27 touchdowns in 12 games.
Wow.
Strong.
And then Jackson Campbell, obviously I'm sure you have his stats too, but I took a look at this. In the 2 playoffs games, he had 21 receptions, 319 yards. That's a good season for some people.
Oh, without a doubt. Had 10 against Brentwood, a good Brentwood team. So, and then Brigham Moracle with the touchdown pass, he had 7 receptions. So, obviously Independence not moving on, season's over, but I thought they really, they left, it sounds to me like they left everything on the field, just got beat by a better Brentwood team. Brentwood's moving on, but it was a good game. Without a doubt, it was much better than the first time.
And your man, Tabor Miller, stepping up again, 45 and 32-yard field goals, which we sort of take for granted, but that's not typical in a high school game.
No, heck no. And a 45-yarder, you watched college football this weekend. I mean, that's not a give me for over half the programs in the country, D1, Power 5 teams in the country. So it's a heck of a weapon. I think it's going to be a big thing this week with Ravenwood. Obviously, they got a really good kicker. And Tabor, you didn't see his name for a while. He was hurt earlier in the year. And great thing about it is you got a pretty good replacement in Day. But now he's back to healthy, and this is the second week in a row he's kicked some long ones. So that's going to be a heck of a weapon.
Independence cuts the lead late there to 20-13. Onside kick that actually was loose. And then Brentwood recovers. Shout out to Coach Blade. I know Coach, he kind of plays his cards close to his vest. He liked that team, and I guarantee you he knows he got everything out of them.
Yeah, he did. They had some injuries, which everybody did, but who knows? They have some things go the injury way, breaks go a couple different ways. Who knows? Who knows where they end up? But he did like this team, and, his record speaks for himself. He does as good a job as anybody, and as well as Coach Crawford does too. And, it's going to be interesting to see this week that passing games. We already know about Walker Merrill. Garner Jones keeps stepping up and making big plays. He had a 40-something yard touchdown. I saw it on TV. It was a little flag route. Great throw, great catch. It's going to be fun, man.
It is. It is. You talked about Coach Crawford. I know you and I talked about this. He invited me to their region meeting. I loved it.
He's what's it called? He runs it.
He's the MC. Yeah. But just the way they do things, I love so much. And Coach Crawford, he's great. He's very organized.
Oh, yeah.
He's very passionate. He's very fair about what he does. And those coaches, what I told them, I said, man, basketball coaches, everybody hides behind their vote. They write it on a piece of paper and fold it up 6 times and turn it in. Those guys raise their hand. Who are you voting for?
I hold it accountable.
I loved it. I really did. I really enjoyed that meeting. It's one of my highlights of the semester, to be honest with you, just to see those guys in action. And I really appreciated Coach Crawford inviting me to that meeting, so it was fun.
Any time with him is a good time.
Nolensville, 33, Livingston Academy, 7. Nolensville with their first trip to the quarterfinals after hammering previously unbeaten Livingston Academy. Is it too early to get that hat out? I mean, is it too early in this segment to?
Well, that's not quite Boat Race City, but it was dang close. It was Tombstone City.
Okay, we need to get this description typed up on the screen.
You got to have a running clock.
Mr. Producer, we got to get this typed up on the screen.
Don't you agree?
Wait. Boat Race City equals?
It's just a boat race. It's up there with popcorn.
Now you guys see why I'm confused. Okay, and then which one's a running clock?
Well, Popcorn City's running clock, but Boat Race City is even, in my opinion, like it's not necessarily the final score, but just the way it went about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you get a running clock, 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's Popcorn City running clock. That running clock's like when we're kicking off for the third quarter. It's a boat race, man. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, I don't know what you're saying.
We got Kid Rock pumping on the 40-foot Donzi. Anyways, this was Tombstone City. It was a tail kicking, is what it was.
Okay.
And let me tell you something.
Now that we can agree
I got
on.
I got a lot of ties up around that part of town. Love those people, hog eye, but they thought.
They didn't know, did they?
They thought those Wilco boys were going to come up and get hit in the mouth and weren't going to like it. I'd say it was the other way around.
It was. Scoreless until Luke Jenkins kicks a 29-yard field goal with under 4 minutes left in the first half.
That surprised me a little bit.
So it was a quarter and more than a half, really. And then 2.5 minutes later, Ryder Gallardi, said his name a lot this year, hits Tim Koutris, Mr. Football semifinalist, and he's really showing why in the playoffs. And like you said last week, if that Mr. Football, if the playoffs counted, he's only increasing his stock. He's playing great.
Yeah, well, Will McDonald, they're Livingston Academy's Mr. Football semifinalist, and well deserved. I mean, you know, it didn't turn out so well for him. So yeah, that would be a totally different award. Don't know that it's going to matter because he had such a great regular season. But if we're talking playoffs too, I don't think it'd be a no-brainer right now. I'm sure there's somebody East-West Tennessee's got something to say about that. But he had another big game and 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns. You know, again, I guess it's easier said than done. I don't understand why you'd throw the ball his way, and I don't understand on those why you know, when they're down around. It's not like it was a 90-yard passing touchdown. So it was down there in that area. Why you don't? Hey, we might get beat, but that kind of we were talking about that time when Mason had 7 touchdowns. We might get beat 80, but that cat is not going to catch another touchdown pass against us if we got to put 3 on him.
Although last week, I was thinking about this after the show because I watched the show after we recorded it last week. Mason had 2 receptions last week. Stewart's Creek got beat 35-0. So
that's right.
So you're saying it would have been 55-0 they let it.
But I can respect that. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. No, point well taken.
Yeah.
Starting the second half, Livingston Academy on the first possession, they snapped the ball out of the end zone for a safety.
Can't do that.
No. Then the momentum's starting to really go Nolensville's way. Short time afterwards, Gallardi takes one in from 3 yards. Then he hits Koutris for a 33-yard touchdown. By then, shoulder pads are off. Already thinking about the first ever quarterfinal, but at home. And let me tell you, those folks at Nolensville, everybody I think loves when we bring game day out, right?
Yes, sir.
But there's a certain segment. Maybe some of it's an inconvenience. We got to get the stage up. People have to meet with us and do some things. Nolensville is as fired up as any place I've ever seen. They've been getting on me all year. When you coming out? When you coming out? When you coming out? Had a little issue with my truck there week 1 of the playoffs. A little malfunction. Had to get it fixed. So I told them week 3, but it was looking like Marshall County.
Yeah.
But I'm talking, as soon as that score came on, my phone was blowing up. And I cannot wait, Nolo, to come visit you this week. Tate will be there. Dr. Qualls will be there. He's got a couple surprises for you. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, he'll bring the juice. For
it's going to be there.
It's going to be fun. Hey, I think you know this. Somebody's going to have to bring something because the only time we were there, Dr. Looney parachuted or sky dropped, whatever, the football. Sky dove. He landed on the, what is out there, the shield? Or is
yes.
Yeah. He landed, he hit it on the shield, handed the ball, I think to Qualls, double J'd him and was gone. So I don't know how we're going to top that. But the crowd, even back then when they only had sophomores in the building, it was unbelievable. So I can't wait. So glad that DeKalb won so it could be there. But it's going to be really fun. And you mentioned Gallardi. He went over 2,000 yards for the season. And so all these quarterbacks we talk about every week, but I think maybe more than anybody in the WCS Sports Conference, Gallardi played, was not in. I bet he missed more quarters due to the point differential than anybody, and he's still gone over 2,000 yards and had 2 touchdowns, passing, 1 touchdown, rushing the other night. He now has 5 touchdowns in 2 rounds of the playoffs, and my guess is against Macon County didn't play the whole game. So again, we talk about the quarterbacks at the 6A, Ryder Gallardi. He can play anywhere in this county.
Tate, last thing on this game, and it's this week's gym. Livingston Academy. hadn't given up 33 points in the previous 5 games combined.
That's awesome.
And then they score, obviously, 33 that night, Nolensville does, and only allowed multiple touchdowns in one game, and it was to 6A Cookeville, who you were describing as one of the powerhouses of the state when you talked about their schedule. Nothing against Cookeville, by the way.
Boy.
I may have to see some of these people in public someday. Not that they're watching this, they're probably not. But
you never know. Cookeville's better than you think. Hey,
what's the
Luke Jenkins? You mentioned the field goal.
Wait, let's talk about this first. What's the scenario, the most odd scenario where somebody mentioned something to you that they watched the show where you were like, oh wow, that's. I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't in Gallatin.
I don't know if he cares or not. I'm gonna say it anyways. So one time we were doing a basketball show, and it was sub-state, and we were talking about the Clarksville Northeast Brentwood game, and I said one thing that kind of bothers me is everybody assumes Northeast is more athletic than Brentwood because everybody thinks Brentwood's just fundamental basketball play. I said, it was back when I think they had Lawson in them or whatever, and I said. Brentwood's got athletes, man. They just might not look like Northeast athletes, but they got athletes. So then that Wednesday, I'm driving down the road, I get a text from John Stegall. Hey, Tate, you're right. Brentwood is athletic, blah, blah, blah. Maybe more athletic than us. I sent back, you watch that show? He's at Northeast now at the time. You with me? Yeah, you get it.
And now he's at Nolensville.
I said, you watch that show? He's like, watch it every week.
So you're telling me this show has an impact on people wanting to be here?
It does in Gallatin.
John Stegall.
Captain Youth Camp doesn't like it.
John Stegall, now boys basketball coach at Nolensville.
Yeah, and I think going to do a good job.
He's going to do a great job. Going to do a great job. Yeah. All right, let's keep going here.
Hey, real quick, Luke Jenkins, one field goal, 4 for 4 extra points, 6 kickoffs. All of them went into the end zone. Can't return it for a touchdown. You can't do any better than that.
I'm going to start calling you Mr. Special Teams.
I like Coach Cafago. My dad would be proud.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, here's the game I attended. I thought it would be the most competitive and best game. And I did pick the winner correctly, but it did not go exactly the way I thought it would. Page 3, Summit 28. Yep. Just a dominating performance. Page scores first. They get first blood at 5:47 left in the first quarter. Chase Tidmore with the field goal to put Page up 3-0. But then after that, Air Coleman's over. It was ground Coleman. And I'm telling you, they dominate. It's got to feel good. I know Coach Coleman's watching us on his laptop in his office right now. And if Tate doesn't pick you this week, circle his picture a few more times and send it to him. I've been behind you, Coach. It's got to feel good, though, when you say, hey, guys, we're getting ready to run the ball. It's going to be one of the Wades. We're not going to tell you that. We're going to run it. Good luck stopping you. It's a thing of beauty.
Well, 2 weeks in a row, and nobody, 2 really good football teams have not been able to stop it. And yeah, you're right. They said, heck with this air raid Coleman 2.0 2019. And that's what's funny is you thought when Destin Wade came back at quarterback, we're going to start throwing the ball some more. We're just running it with him and that 2-headed monster of the Wade twins. And hey, Grayson Hill, he had 6 rushes, only 20 yards. But those things are important, man, because it keeps you honest. You know what I'm saying? Especially in that wing tee. Trey Hunter had 5 for 20. And so they've got about 5 people that are carrying the ball, but obviously between Keaton and Destin, good gracious. 365, I think they had 367 total yards, or 387, something like that. 17 passing yards for the game and thumped them 28-3. And this is the 2-time reigning region champion.
Yeah, it was impressive when you consider what kind of team Page has. Keaton and Destin, a total of 253 yards rushing combined. All 4 Spartan touchdowns, Keaton with 3, Destin with 1. On the Page side, into a great career for Cade Walker. He was only 12 of 30 for 104 yards, but I'm going to tell you this. I know a coach after the game said, maybe we weren't quite hitting on all cylinders. I think Summit had a lot to do with it.
I think they had everything to do with it.
Cade was running for his life a little bit in that game, and he missed a couple open guys, but I'm telling you, it didn't stand out to me like he was playing poorly as much as Summit was causing them to maybe play poorly.
For sure, and as much credit or publicity or whatever that Keaton Wade gets for offense, in my opinion, I think Coach Coleman will tell you too, he's probably better on defense.
No, he was great.
He's a heck of a linebacker. And then a guy that we don't talk about enough because we don't give the big uglies enough credit, but Kiston Arnold, he is a dude now. And I know I wasn't there, but I guarantee you he caused problems. So they're just, Coach Coleman said it about 3 weeks ago. He said, this team plays different when number one's back there. Don't know why, but we do.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And
looking like Cam Newton back there.
Yeah.
He's huge.
He's huge. But the team, he seems to think, I do too, the team's more confident. So you're right. And then all those things you talked about, I thought that was the most impressive thing they did between Cade Walker, Mr. Football semifinalist and deservedly so, Bubba Johnson over 1,000 yards rushing. They held those two to under 165 total yards combined. Yeah. Well, nobody's done that all year. And so that just goes to show you how impressive that defense was. They got after them.
Great years, obviously, for Cade, who you mentioned, and Bubba Johnson. I really like those guys, man.
Cade
They're easy to be around.
Oh, yeah.
Easy to like.
Two kids.
Back-to-back, like you said, region championships. I know Coach Rathbone and the Patriots a little disappointed, but when the dust settles, they'll be proud of this year. Great job by Coach Rathbone. Another guy who's real easy to pull for, too.
Yeah, huge fan. We're huge fans on this show. Cade finished with 1,925 yards, 22 touchdowns passing.
Wow.
512 rushing yards. Now, there's some sacks. I don't count sacks. That's not, 512 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. 27 total touchdowns, 12 games. So, seriously, when we start trying to think of who had the best,
it's incredible.
It's hard.
It's incredible. Ravenwood, 35, Cane Ridge, 0. All Ravenwood in this one as they continue. Now they're up to a 7-game winning streak. Brian Garcia, 12 for 20, 285 yards and 3 touchdowns on the night. He now has, now this is not a misprint, over 7,000 career yards.
And he wasn't the starter week 1 his sophomore year.
Incredible. Incredible.
It is incredible. And, man, I'm telling you that they are playing scary good right now. I saw in the paper, I think it was the Herald that wrote it, but which side of the ball is playing better, hard to pick. I thought that was a great point. Cane Ridge was averaging 35.27 points per game coming into this game. Second round of the playoffs. Everybody's talking about how they're playing better. Coach Daniels is one of them, saying how much better they'd gotten since the beginning of the season. They don't score a flipping point.
107 yards of total offense.
That's scary, man. That's scary. And the front seven that we keep talking about every week, they only gave up. Now this is a team that can run the football and athletic. They only gave up 22 rushing yards to Cane Ridge. That's never happened since Eddie Woods was there. And so those guys are playing really well. Junior Colson had 8 tackles, 3.5 sacks again against Cane Ridge.
Wow.
They're impressive. On defense. They're scary good, and it's going to be fun to watch this week. Offense, you mentioned Garcia. The thing I loved about it, 3 touchdowns, 3 different guys. Trevor Andrews, of course, Andrew Mason, and Jake Brenningstool. That's become we talked about that. That's become a real threat. He's a dang matchup problem, man, and you got to honor Mason out there. You put a linebacker on Brenningstool, and you don't get pressure on the quarterback, you got a problem.
Jordan Smith, Ben Severance, both with interceptions for Ravenwood. And something that stood out to me the past couple of weeks, you're seeing a lot more Reggie Grimes on offense.
Yeah. Talked to Coach Daniels about that this weekend on the radio, and it's almost like they've kind of developed a playoff 2-headed monster between Grimes and Tony Rice. Not that there's anything wrong with but, to have those two coming at you fresh, and that's what he said. He said it kind of dawned on him, you got a 6'4", 250-pound stud over there and run the ball. Kind of makes sense to give him the ball a little bit. That's kind of scary. One more weapon, and he looked good running it.
Tate, let's talk about this week's games.
Let's go.
So we have 4 teams left. We're going to have one for sure, right?
Yes.
Make it to the semis, but I'm going to guess maybe we have 3. Can't have 4, but we could have 3.
That'd be awesome.
Let's start off this way. Nolensville, DeKalb County. DeKalb with a big upset. I still can't figure out how they did it. They win at Marshall County 28-24. And again, not that this is like being like armchair quarterback, not knowing anything about sports. But they lost earlier to Livingston 31-0, right? And then they lost to Watertown 42-20. Only a few weeks after Nolensville knocked out.
Watertown watches this show.
Well, they probably do, but I'm going to tell you, I watched Nolensville play Watertown early in the season. Unless they added about 3 players, Nolensville would never lose to Watertown. They could play 100 times. Nolensville would win all 100.
I'm sure Coach Derrick appreciates this.
You got it, Coach Derrick.
I agree, but
I know you got to play the game, but I get
and they beat Marshall County.
Right.
Marshall County's pretty good.
Lightning ain't striking twice.
But I'm with you.
Man.
They like to now. I call what they like to do on offense. They're playing PlayStation, man. They're wide open. Hey, that looks cool. Let's run this. Let's call that. But sometimes that's scary because it starts working. And you know, sometimes a defensive coordinator will tell you. I think Coach Derrick will tell you. Sometimes when you get those guys and there's no rhyme or reason to anything, but they got players, it's kind of scary. How do you prepare for that, right?
Right.
And so these guys they'll throw everything at you but the kitchen sink. They got a quarterback. Before you fire at me, I'm not comparing him to Garcia. He's like Garcia. He can extend plays with his feet, things like that. So you got to contain him. But I'm with you, man. If they haven't gotten a whole lot better, they're probably in trouble.
If you could just think about this, you could have said, "Hey, Coach Derrick, I got a scenario for you. We're here in August, and you're going to be hosting DeKalb County in the quarterfinals. Will you sign this piece of paper right here to make sure that we're going to do that?" I know it's not a gimme, and I know how coaches are. He's watching the film right now and can't believe they're not 12-0. You know, I know how it is. But listen, I'm not coaching. Nolensville, get ready for the semis.
Bill Schmitz and him will not let him let any stone be unturned.
And I would be the same way, but not in this role. I'm all about
That's right. Well, that's the beauty of it. That's right. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Summit 10-2 at Shelbyville 11-1.
Jeez.
It's a rematch of the game from October 18th, which Shelbyville won 42-25. Throw that one out the door. Little different situation at quarterback now for Summit. Shelbyville with a big win last week at Beach. They scored late to win 20-17. Which tells you something about that team. You know, I'm a big fan of and a friend of Coach Anthony Crabtree's.
Right.
I would have bet I was watching it on Twitter, when I saw it going back and forth, I'd have put my money on Beach. And then Shelbyville scores late to win. And I know Crabtree, because I talked to him before this game, he was worried about Shelbyville. He thinks they could be the best team in this region. He obviously had a lot of respect for Summit and Page as well.
Oh, for sure. And you know, if we're being honest, we were both off air. We thought Beach would beat them, you know, and not that we didn't think they were good, but it's a big win, man. And Beach has been there so many times. I thought that was going to be part of it too. So, no, this Shelbyville team's good. You're right. They've got to win over Summit. That's part of why this thing's on the road. I wish it wasn't, but it is. But it's going to be different. Number one wasn't playing quarterback, or it wasn't healthy, that one. But man, they got a dual threat guy of their own, Cade Cunningham. And again, as you just mentioned, this is a good program you know very well. This is against Beach now. How many times through the years have you seen, we talked about this, one thing Coach Crabtree is so great at through the years is he identifies what you do well and he takes it away.
He does.
You might beat us, but you're not going to beat us with that. We had no Cade Cunningham was their best player. He went 13 for 16, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, 65 rushing yards. That's against Beach. That's a dude. Agreed?
Oh, it's going to be.
So this is going to be fun.
It's going to be a great game. Final game, Battle of the Woods 2.0. Brentwood versus Ravenwood. Brentwood 10-2 on the year, Ravenwood 11-1. Ravenwood's only setback was obviously at Brentwood earlier in the year. I was at that game, 25-14 Brentwood. It was a defensive thing of beauty from Coach Crawford and his staff that night. You look at Ravenwood, how they dominate some of these games. They didn't really have an answer for Brentwood's defense that night. Ravenwood hoping for that reversal like they had last year. Brentwood wins in the regular season last year also. Ravenwood turns around and wins 47-24 at Brentwood in the state quarterfinals last year. That's what they're hoping this year.
Yeah,
game won 25-14, by the way.
They've had this game circled for a while. You were the mayor of Brentwood that night.
Yes.
You picked them at game day. So
Talking about a reversal of fortunes for me.
one thing I hope they do, I don't know, I hope the playoffs don't have anything to do with it. You remember they've done this the last couple times they played. They both wore home jerseys.
Yes, that'd be great.
I hope they do that again. I think that is so cool. So hopefully that can get worked out. Did a little research, Dr. Joins. It's like my nugget, my tot, okay?
Yes.
Ravenwood, 10 regular season games. I'm assuming that Pulaski Academy made it to the playoffs.
I'm assuming yes.
And I'm assuming they're still playing. 8 out of 10 regular season opponents, playoffs. 4 of their regular season opponents, obviously Brentwood is one of them, are still playing in the quarterfinals. That was Ravenwood. Brentwood, 9 out of 10 regular season opponents made it to the playoffs. 4 are still playing.
Wow.
What now? That's something.
That is a big tot right there.
Well, no, that's a big.
Let's get some cheese on that thing too.
Chili, Sonic. That is Chuck Sugged like that.
Oh, he would.
It's amazing to me. They're a little bit beat up, but not. So that's a testament to both of their off-season programs that they've made it. You know, there's
Think
a lot.
that's going to be a tough ticket?
Oh my gosh, you better get there early.
Get on Go Fan. Patrick Knowles says, "Get on Go Fan right now."
And you better get there early too.
No doubt. All right, let's talk Pick'ems, Tate. It's time.
go.
So last week, the good doctor and I both went 4-0. You were 3-1. The only setback for you and the fans was the Summit Page game. You're still comfortably in the lead, 72 wins. I'm 3 back now, 69 wins. The fans, 68 wins, and Dr. Qualls creeping up with 67 wins. So
We're teasing him,
he's not out of it yet. He probably is, but you know. All right, let's start off. I'll go first, just because I want to.
It's your show. You're if you read the credits at the end, you're the executive producer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Producer, for including me on that. Nolensville versus DeKalb County.
Boat race? No, Tombstone?
I don't know what the definitions are, but they're going to dominate this game, and my version is the Tombstone. They're out. DeKalb County, your season's over. You'll be packing
Season's
up.
over.
You'll be packing up Monday. Great season, by the way. Great season.
Thank you for participating.
Nothing to be ashamed of. Nolensville's going to roll you.
They can get back up, get to winterizing their boats, get ready for the Caney Fort
Who you got?
Christmas. They can get ready for Christmas on the Caney Fort. Nolo, man.
Who you said's going to win it all? That's looking better and better.
Man, well, that will be the prediction of the year.
It would be.
Yeah, this is awesome. They're at home. That place is going to be hyped. All of Nolo's going to be there. It's going to be the closest thing in Wilco to last one out, turn the lights off.
You think John Street will be there?
Man,
He's there right now.
He's so hyped up. Friday can't get here fast enough for him. I hope he comes out in like some kind of a tux, man. I mean, he needs to bring it.
He does.
Calling you out, John. Super duper tux.
Summit at Shelbyville. You go first. I think this is tough.
It is tough.
Coach Coleman, see what he does here.
Well, I've picked against the Spartans the last 2 weeks.
Yes, you have.
Trust me, I've been made quite aware of it with some threatening text messages. So, why mess up a good thing? I'm going to go with Shelbyville. If I pick them and they lose, they're going to hate me.
I'm going to tell you, I give you credit. That is.
Hey, stand by.
I'm going Old Sparty, by the way. Old Sparty.
It's kind of like a guy I heard one time. He said, I don't scare as easy as my predecessor.
Coach Coleman, Spartans roll. Looking forward to this game. All right, so I didn't think we'd have one that'd be different this week. Brentwood versus Ravenwood. Now, let me tell you, picking against Coach Crawford is very difficult for me. And I know at the last Battle of the Woods, I picked Brentwood. The crowd loved it.
Oh, I smell a crawfish here.
I don't have to pick this one live. And I just think just the way the history of this game is. Yeah. Whoever won the regular season game, I'm just going to tell you, I was going to pick the opposite. So because of that, I'm going with Ravenwood.
Oh, you are picking? I thought you said you were going to pick it. Oh, no. You are good.
Ravenwood. Why would I pick it?
I'm going Ravenwood too. For the I went with them last time too, and I was wrong. I'm going with Ravenwood. I just think those two schedules that we talked about, I think it has affected Brentwood a little bit more than it did Ravenwood. Murderer's Row, man.
It's going to be a great game, and whoever wins this game will be a great representative in the semis with a really good chance, I think, to play for a state championship.
Hey, I think we got a chance to get 3 up there. And
Let's
let me
do
say
it.
something too. I thought going into the playoffs, Oakland didn't matter who came out. Nobody was beating Oakland. They looked to have a little bit of a chink in their armor. This
I think
could be
so,
great.
too.
This could be big. Will you be there? You'll be there, won't you? As a joke.
Of course I will.
It's going to be great.
It is.
We got to
Tate-
get there first.
Tate, as always, great to see you.
You too, my friend.
Join us next time on the Sports Connection.